Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Steph Zone channel. Today, we're going to be talking about Etsy. This time of year, it's treated like the trusted place for creative gifts, but for many of us, it's where we go for patterns, for fabric, for yarns, for tools year-round. Etsy still markets itself as the handmade marketplace and a way to support small makers rather than those big box stores. But when you scratch the surface, things start to look a bit different. Behind the cozy branding, the platform structure actually makes it incredibly easy for bad actors and low-quality listings to thrive, while genuine designers and suppliers get buried. So that's what I'm going to be taking you through today. We're going to be looking at multiple real Etsy listings that are aimed at crafters and look at how they reveal the cracks in the system. Each one highlights a different problem created by Etsy's algorithm, policies, and priorities. By the end, you're going to see exactly how to protect yourself when you're shopping for creative supplies on this platform, and I might even be able to convince you to rethink your relationship with it altogether. Let's get into it. Now, we can't talk about any online creative space without talking about AI, so let's start there. Etsy's current policy here is actually pretty simple. They say that sellers can use AI tools as long as they disclose it in the listing description. They give examples like a fantasy scene generated from a seller's prompt or an AI pet portrait. All of that is supposedly allowed just as long as the supplier tells you. Now, whether AI art belongs on a handmade marketplace is a whole separate conversation, but honestly, the policy almost doesn't matter because Etsy does not enforce it at all. Let's do a basic search for a sewing pattern, like a jacket. What instantly stands out is how many AI-generated images appear before you've even scrolled. In the first 8 results, half of them used AI images in all or nearly all of the sample photos. Sellers also use AI to create multiple listings for the same pattern. A shop might upload 10 different versions of it, each with a different AI-rendered fantasy garment which may or may not match the line drawing. In some cases, they're actually uploading these same patterns across multiple shops with slightly tweaked photos and then just slightly different branding. But the big issue here isn't just the photos and the product listing. In a lot of these shops, particularly the ones churning out hundreds of pattern listings, AI has been used to generate the patterns themselves. Now, let's be clear here. AI-enabled drafting tools absolutely exist, but none of them are currently capable of producing a clean, graded, correctly labeled sewing patterns with solid instructions, certainly not without significant intervention from a highly experienced sewist. If you buy one of these cheap patterns from an AI seller who won't even tell you their name, the chances of a bad outcome are really extremely high. Another YouTuber I love, a fellow Stephanie Canada, did a fantastic deep dive on this, which I'm going to link below. She shows the missing pieces, mismatched seams, missing markets, strange drafting choices, and just nonsensical instructions that simply don't work. The sad part is here that beginners don't always realize that they're using a crappy pattern and are going to assume that they did something wrong or that sewing is just really, really hard. Occasionally a pattern is going to be fine, but that's only when it's so simple that it could have been easily downloaded for free somewhere else, which we're going to talk about later. My strong advice, never buy patterns that are using AI photos. If a designer is making the choice to never show you a finished sample of their work, that really tells you everything that you need to know about their confidence in their output. Similarly, always check the lowest reviews. Etsy pushes buyers to review immediately, so early positive reviews are often from people who haven't sewn the item yet. It's in the 1-star reviews that the truth lives. There's also a more depressing trend that I do need to acknowledge here. Hustle culture grifters have discovered the sewing community, and there's actually multiple people, teaching passive income courses built entirely around flooding Etsy with cheap AI sewing patterns. The model is pretty simple. You create multiple anonymous shops, you upload hundreds of low-effort patterns, and when reviews get too low, delete everything and start again under a new name. They're going to wrap it up in that girl boss language about empowerment and entrepreneurship, but they're just exploiting you. As an aside, imagine being like that. Imagine kind of knowing and accepting that you're basically so useless, you need to trick someone into giving you $2. The mind boggles. We should be calling out this behavior whenever we see it because nobody, especially beginners, deserves to have their money and time wasted by these people. However, it's really not just digital products that you need to be reconsidering on Etsy. Now, obviously, a digital product is just in general a lot easier to be shady with, so let's talk about physical items like craft supplies or haberdashery. Again, I want to refer back to Etsy's own policy here. Basically, craft supplies can be resold on Etsy and they don't need to be handmade by the shop offering the item. In fact, craft supplies are one of only 2 categories where dropshipping is apparently allowed. So basically, I, Stephanie, can open a craft shop on Etsy where I try to sell you supplies that I may not have even ever seen in person. The dropshipper will send you the supplies directly, and the only work that I'd actually have to do is like the 10 minutes of admin to open up the Etsy shop. Guys, this is actually really common, and in fact, there are dozens of guides on YouTube about how to do this from sites like Temu and AliExpress. So why does this matter? I'll be honest, I don't have a problem with the fact that these items are being produced in mass abroad. The buttons I'd get at my local fabric shop could have easily been made at the same factories in China. We just need to live in that economic reality. However, I do have a problem with the seller posting a bunch of Temu and AliExpress photos and then charging you 5 to 10 times the price you'd have paid going manufacturer direct. This actually happened to me last year with some buttons. This is a sweater that I knit in the spring, and you can see here that I wanted these big gold kind of artistic buttons on the placket, and I knew that I wouldn't be able to find something like this in London. I went to Etsy. I did find these buttons from a shop in Europe, and I paid a lot to get them shipped to me, allegedly from Germany. And when I needed more of them, I was kind of annoyed about it, and I decided to do a reverse image search to see if I could find a local supplier who had something similar more cheaply. I did not find a local source, but unfortunately I did realize that every single image from the seller that I purchased from came from a much larger Temu shop, and the manufacturer page was charging 1/10 of the price that I paid. I think you can appreciate how infuriating this is. In using Etsy, we're going through the additional time and expense to try to find an independent shop, ideally an independent local shop. In this case, the only thing that the seller did was repost some Temu photos. Chances are that these buttons were actually drop shipped to me from China anyway. This is so different to a typical fabric shop where the seller has to find, curate, photograph, cut, package, and store their items. Again, my issue isn't with something coming from China. It's with someone purely harvesting your money while not even offering you a small value add, at least not beyond what you could easily do yourself. And they're doing this while taking advantage of your desire to support independent creative businesses. Okay, so now if you're thinking, how do I avoid this? Here are the quickest checks that you can do to spot a Temu or AliExpress reseller before you ever hand over your money. First, reverse image search the listing photos if you're unsure. You really do have to use good judgment here just because sites like Temu and AliExpress are also taking photos from small businesses on Etsy, but you can usually tell just based on who has more photos in the same consistent style. Second, look at how many different items the shop sells. If they have hundreds of unrelated craft supplies, zippers, beads, yarn, leather, whatever, that might not be a genuine small independent business. If it is a genuine business carrying that many items, they almost certainly have a separate website you can go investigate. And finally, just consider whether the shop is adding any value at all. Are they photographing their own stock, offering color comparisons, providing detailed measurements? If there's no added value, the shop doesn't deserve your money. I am unsurprisingly not a person who wants to spend any of her time shopping on Temu, but to be honest, I'd much rather have a direct Temu transaction than pay 10 times the price to still have a Temu transaction that went through an Etsy seller who never touched the item. However, a dropshipper is still much more honest than the final type of Etsy scammer I want to talk to you about. Lastly, I want to talk about a final Etsy trap, which to me symbolizes everything that's wrong with the platform. I am, of course, talking about stealing. There is a ton of stolen work on Etsy across a whole range of creative niches. Sewing and knitting is no different. I've seen multiple shops offering dozens, if not hundreds of stolen patterns, and Etsy makes no real effort to remove them, even if the original creator flags it aggressively. And because there's no need for accurate disclosure of who runs an Etsy shop and where they're based, people get fooled. This is particularly insidious because if the work is stolen from a legitimate designer, the pattern might actually be good, and then the shop ends up getting good reviews over time for their stolen designs. Let's take a look at some examples of this. In the sewing space, you're most often going to see this with patterns that have been posted elsewhere for free. It's really extra cheeky, like profiting off of someone else's free pattern. One pattern that I've seen come up in multiple shops is the wrap cape pattern from American Duchess. This is a free tutorial, it's not even actually a pattern, for historical wrap cape which was produced quite a few years ago. And here's an Etsy listing for this pattern, of course accompanied by an AI photo with incorrect details. Peppermint magazine patterns similarly come up frequently. These patterns were initially offered for free, I think, for magazine subscribers, but now I think on a pay-what-you-can structure. Here is the peppermint robe jacket being sold using an AI-generated image, but the thief in this case hasn't even bothered to change the descriptions, like it's still labeled as a peppermint pattern. That's how little these guys have to fear. The situation with knitting isn't really any better. If you're a knitter, especially one who's based in Europe, you've probably heard of the yarn company Drops. Drops has been publishing free knitting patterns for decades now and has a huge library of designs featuring their yarns. And yet, when you start searching for knitting patterns on Etsy, you can easily find multiple sellers who are selling on free Drops patterns. Again, here, they're not even changing the names of some of these designs. The fact that the patterns are stolen is constantly flagged in reviews, and Etsy does nothing with this information. Guys, some of the shops that I just showed you had, like the knitting one had 500 sales and the average price per pattern is about $10. This person is making real money scamming people like you. I do have to laugh though that he lists his production partner as just like his friend. I really think that that shows how seriously Etsy takes this sort of verification. I guess his friend is the one kind of hitting download on the Drops Pattern website. In the course of making this video, I did want to test in good faith Etsy's ability to remove these stolen patterns. I submitted around a dozen reports to Etsy and also reached out directly to designers whose work had been stolen. In almost every case, the designer told me, yeah, I'm aware of this. I've directly reported it to Etsy. My customers have reported it. There's nothing that I feel like I can do. I also went beyond kind of standard Etsy reporting channels. I reached out to customer support with links, and I even reached out directly to individual members of Etsy's team. I found members of their marketplace integrity and trust and safety team on LinkedIn and sent them personal, actually quite nice messages. I think nicer than they deserved, if we're honest. I won't get into the details of that outreach yet, but suffice to say, all of these fraudulent listings are still up. And my conclusion here is pretty stark. There is essentially nothing that you as a consumer or even a designer whose work has been stolen can do to get a fraudulent shop taken down, at least not taken down in any reasonable time frame. I'm not okay with makers, with you as my audience, being treated this way. You went on Etsy hoping to support a real designer and you ended up buying stolen work with a crappy AI photo. The thieves get the sales, the original talent gets nothing, and Etsy continues to look the other way, even when this issue is constantly flagged in these shops' reviews. This is the point when you realize that Etsy's priorities don't really include your experience as a buyer or even protecting legitimate sellers. Etsy just needs to protect volume. The platform charges a listing fee in addition to transaction fees, and as a publicly traded company, it needs constant growth. But the reality is here that the pool of genuine small-scale creative businesses can only grow so fast. There are only so many independent makers. So from Etsy's perspective, it really is just far easier to allow low-quality sellers to flood the site with cheap listings than it is to create a high-growth marketplace based around real creativity and design. Ultimately, the story of Etsy is just one of corporate greed. The reason the platform has these problems is due to a number of deliberate policy changes over time that allowed in this flood of low-quality, mass-produced, or even fraudulent stuff. These changes started quietly rolling out when the company IPO'd in 2015, and now that we're 10 years out from that, we can really see what it's done. The real sellers who need Etsy to reach their markets are buried under this mountain of crap, and Etsy is notorious for offering very poor service and really bad treatment to small sellers, actually even to large sellers as well. So how do I protect myself when I'm exploring Etsy beyond just checking reviews? First, and I'm repeating this one, never buy something that uses an AI photo. And if you're not sure whether a photo is AI, here's a few quick tells, especially since most of these scammers are using ChatGPT photos, which tend to be a bit cheaper looking and more obvious. Backgrounds are often overly elaborate or theatrical in a way that doesn't match the garment. The lighting tends to look strangely smooth and even with no real shadows. Body proportions can often look a bit strange, and AI photos typically only feature thin, young, conventionally attractive people. You'll rarely see dark-skinned people, larger people, older people. Similarly, finished garments look weirdly smooth in a way that a real handmade item would just never look. Videos are also not a sign that something is legitimate, just because these crappy sellers are increasingly using short video clips in product listings. You can apply all the same tips that I just gave to AI video as well. I should point out here that AI photo and video is going to improve quickly, and higher quality image generators are going to get cheaper and cheaper. You need to start training your eye now. However, for now you can spot these cheap imitations very easily. Avoid them like the plague, and the same thing goes for anyone using stolen ready-to-wear photos. Designers need to be showing you their own work. In terms of my own checklist, I don't typically buy modern indie patterns that don't come with a front and back view, ideally of an actual sample, measurements for the sizing and for the finished garment, clear fabric recommendations, and clear notions requirements. You're entitled to that information before you buy, and any worthwhile pattern designer knows that. Secondly, if you're going to be searching Etsy, you need to go beyond the first page or two. Etsy SEO is notoriously difficult, it changes really frequently, and initial search results really have nothing to do with any indicator of ratings or quality. So get into the habit of scrolling. Look at least a couple pages of results to kind of understand what's available. And while I won't belabor the point about reading reviews, I think we all know to do that, do keep an eye on overall rating. For sewing and knitting, legitimate pattern designers almost always sit above a 4.7. Anything lower, especially when it's paired with AI photos, is a sign to keep moving. I know some of these AI pattern sellers have lots of weirdly positive reviews, but just remember that reviews are very openly faked on all these platforms. It's actually really easy to find people who will write reviews for you in bulk, and low-quality sellers actually participate in review exchanges to boost their visibility. Third, be realistic about pricing. A well-drafted modern sewing or knitting pattern simply cannot cost $1 to $3 from an independent seller. Also, don't be fooled by shops offering all their patterns at 60 to 70% off either. Again, legit indie pattern designers probably wouldn't reduce their pricing that much, and you'll find that most of these sales appear time limited, but are actually always on. If you see all these rock bottom prices, no matter how complex a pattern is, assume it's stolen, AI generated, or otherwise low quality in a way that's going to waste your time. The absolute same goes for shops who sell their entire pattern collection, often hundreds of crappy patterns, for a ridiculous price. A legitimate pattern designer simply would never offer that as an option, especially since it's quite out of sync with what home sewists tend to want. Fourth, check for any presence outside of Etsy. A real designer or supplier usually exists as a human being somewhere else, usually a direct website, but definitely look for their Instagram. If you search for their name and find nothing other than negative commentary on Reddit, and the shop is pumping out hundreds of listings, you can safely assume that it's a grifter. Again, if someone won't put their name behind what they sell and doesn't appear to interact with end customers in any meaningful way, there is a reason for that. And finally, remember that even your smallest purchases deserve respect. You might only be spending a couple of dollars, but your time, creativity, and your trust have value. Handing even $1 to someone who has scraped a free tutorial or uploaded a broken AI pattern is still too much. By being a bit more careful and ensuring our money goes to the creators who actually deserve it, we can hopefully nudge the trash to take itself out. But now, as always, I want to hear from you. If you're a longtime Etsy shopper like me, has your relationship with the site changed in recent years? Personally, I still browse Etsy occasionally. I definitely still use it to collect vintage sewing patterns, but I really try to put my transactions through direct websites where I possibly can. If you've reduced your Etsy use, what are your favorite alternatives? I actually have a new list of better sources that I've been working on, so just let me know if you would like a video on that and I'll prioritize it for January. I'll be back for one more video though in 2025, which is going to be a much more upbeat one. Rather than critiquing bad actors, we're going to be celebrating some absolutely amazing suppliers. I'll be taking you through the best, most unique fabric stores that I've used this year. We'll cover all types of fabrics at a range of price points from shops across multiple continents as always. It's a really fun one, but I'm hoping also genuinely very useful. These are all places that I've actually shopped with regularly this year, and some of the fabrics that I'm going to show you really surprised me. If you've ever felt like fabric shopping online starts to feel repetitive or feel limited, this video is all about showing you what's really out there once you step off the beaten track. I've also managed to get a few small, cheeky little discounts from some of the shops that I'll be featuring, so make sure that you're subscribed so you don't miss it. Have a wonderful rest of your week, protect that wallet from grifters over the holidays, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!